Hey, welcome to Travelogue. I'm Yin. Right now, we are 5,000 meters above sea level. That explains why I'm out of breath, my head hurts, and it's freezing cold. But this is the highest point along the journey from Sichuan all the way to Tibet. And today, we're going to continue our journey to Dege, which is one of the chief centers of Tibetan culture. Give me a moment to catch my breath. This is a journey you definitely don't want to miss. Our journey started in Chengdu in Sichuan, making our way west to the Ganzi Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture. In this episode, we continue on the Sichuan-Tibet Highway to Dege, which means land of benevolence in Tibetan. Although a small county, together with Lhasa in Tibet and Xiahe of Gansu, Dege was one of the 3 ancient centers of Tibetan culture. The Sichuan-Tibet Highway starts from Chengdu and ends in Lhasa, stretching over 2,000 kilometers, perhaps crossing the harshest of terrain. The northern path is particularly difficult to cross. However, the reward is remarkable scenery. We traveled by car, but some choose a unique way to get to Lhasa. They raise their hands towards heaven and drop to their knees, laying their bodies forward onto the ground. They repeat this process over and over. It takes them months to reach Lhasa on their pilgrimage. These spiritual practices bring them closer to enlightenment. The most famous site in Dege is the Scripture Printing House, built in 1729. Locals walk around the building an uncountable number of times each day. It marks the beginning of a new day, as religion is molded into every aspect of their lives. It's estimated that the materials stored at Dege make up over 70% of the Tibetan literary heritage. Inside the dark halls are the engraving blocks, which serve as the blueprints for the printings. Wow, this place is amazing. This printing house has the largest and most comprehensive collection of scriptures in this area. But it's so dark, I wish I could see. There are 2 legends about the site. One is that on one day at sunset, Damba Tsering, a ruler, heard some boys chatting outside his house, and thus decided that he should print some books for the children to read. Another is that a man, while transporting printing plates on the back of a yak, halfway through his journey, had his load spilled to the ground. The printing house was built at that very spot. The main building is a 4-story complex, and upstairs is where the printing is actually done. The workers work quickly and almost mechanically. They use black and red ink to print 2 types of scriptures. The red ink is made of a medicinal herb with very low toxicity. That way, the paper repels mice and moths and keeps them from damaging the books. Besides scriptures on paper, the blueprints are also printed on cloth, creating prayer flags. There are some traditional designs, prayers, and pictures that are most commonly used and passed down from generation to generation. These flags are hung outside homes, and in my opinion, there's nothing more beautiful than flags fluttering in the wind, dancing in the light. These flags are not just for decoration. They're called prayer flags, and that's because on the flags are the scriptures. It's said that each time the wind blows, it's like reading the scriptures. You might be wondering how these boards are made and where. Well, right across the street from the printing house. And look, this man right here is making small wedges onto this board, which will serve as the blueprint for future printings. The wedges here are all very, very deep, so that they can last throughout time. Back in the old days, in order to encourage people to make these deep wedges, they would get paid based on how deep they were. After the board was finished, a layer of gold dust was spread across this surface, and whatever fell into the wedges became the carver's property. The carvers first write the mirror image of the words onto the boards, and then slowly carve out the inscriptions with a number of big and small tools. This is not as easy as I'd imagined. You have to apply just the right amount of force, or else you end up with little notches like that. You don't want that. You want smooth edges. On the streets of Dege, you can find Tibetans going about their daily routines, dressed in local attire and special accessories, which can be purchased on the roadside. The Kangba Tibetans are known for their colorful, unique ornaments. They wear large turquoise, gold, and silver decorations. The jewelry shop across the street is where you can watch the silversmith make some nice accessories. These earrings are cast in gold. Maybe I can take a pair home with me. See? You like it? These are the real traditional ones you see people in the street wear. See, they dangle, and the only problem is the thing is kind of thick, and quite frankly, I can't wear these. But you can still enjoy them, right? Look at that. 还有什么？还有这个。这是什么呀？耳环。These are earrings as well. 还有这个样子。If these don't go in, these aren't going to go in at all. Oh, oops. Oops.
真漂亮。
Inside Gongqing Temple, there's a big event. No, huge. A religious event is held every year for 10 days in September. Luckily, we are here just in time. Everyone from the surrounding area comes to be blessed by the Lama and the holy water. Here you will hear people praying and spinning the small cylinders, which are called prayer wheels. These are devices for spreading spiritual blessings and well-being. Inside is the scripture printing. Well, you might be wondering what makes this holy water so holy. After the lamas read scriptures for a full month before the water, it's believed the water becomes sacred and can bless all those who come in contact with it. The water has an herbal extract and is spread on the heads of the people by the lama. It cleanses and heals all illnesses. Gongqing Temple is also known to be the site of the earliest Tibetan medicine clinic. Today, it's become the Dege County Tibetan Hospital, where you can find a vast collection of medicines. So here I am actually making the medicine. I'm grinding up these herbs with this very unique tool. It's a stick that comes down and bounces up and down or left and right. It's good for grinding. The Tibetan hospital has medicine that are composed of herbs and animal parts collected from the far reaches of the Tibetan plateau. Tibetan medicine has evolved for nearly 3,000 years and relates to the Buddhist system of deities. Thus, the medicine Buddha is often thought of as the leader of medicine, possessing all healing power. Some simple therapies include bloodletting, massage, and aromatherapy. And on the walls are diagrams that show the internal workings of the human body. Almost like the ones we'd find in our doctor's office. There are also rare medicines like stones, bear's gallbladder, and coral. The Tibetans are a devout people, and sometimes you can find a local artist singing the epic tale about King Gesar, who is the cultural hero and was once the ruler of the Ling Kingdom in Tibet. The greatest epic, King Gesar, is 20 times the length of Homer's Iliad. I decided to pay a visit to his home. finally found the artist who knows the real story of King Gesar. The artist has been studying King Gesar for many, many years. And sometimes he even records down his dreams about King Gesar in books. You can see he has a huge collection of books about religion and about the legend of King Gesar.
This is 英雄格萨的马鞭，这个是我们一代一代就是传下来的，400-500年了。这是英雄格萨2分入目的头饰，这个是英雄格萨的盔甲，这有个了，有9个眼睛的这个了。这些就是我自己写的这些了。英雄格萨我从15岁开始学的，现在已经57岁了。
那您这些歌啊，都是谁教您的呀？
这些都是我们一代一代传下来的，有些是就是我梦里面出来的。
那您经常会就是做梦完了就想起这些
啊？对对对，经常就是做梦的时候就我自己一醒的时候就我就写，一醒的时候就我就写。
您给我唱一首好吗？
好，可以。
好。
来下瓦郎的着瓦拉呀，每日将这有没有扎起火呀？来几个路大瓦拉呀，来个到有里扎起火呀，啦啦啦啦的呀。新到的门上嘎不的老的乡亲家黑呀呢呀，那个的手一毛半的呀，擦工的马上扎的塞不的好几道的呀呢呀。
To learn more about King Gesar and his Tibetan peoples, I headed to the Ashu grassland in northeastern Dege, which is believed to be the birthplace of Gesar and the epic. On the path, we crossed a special lake. Yulunatsuo in Mandarin is Xinluhai. It's about 4,000 meters above sea level. The water here is clear beyond belief. That's because it originates from melted glaciers and snow on top of mountains. Tibetans call this lake Yulunatsuo, and that means ocean. Clearly, this is not an ocean. But it was the closest they could get to the ocean, and so they dreamed of the ocean so grand. Yet, it's still very holy, because every year there'll be a ceremony where a lot of people will gather around the banks and pray. Along the lake are large rocks called mani stones, with the 6-word teaching of truth. They're like prayers. O mani beme hom. Back to the road. Tedious, so maybe we should sing a little song. The Ashu grassland covers 800 square kilometers, surrounded by hills, grazing cattle, and water. Of course, the birthplace of King Gesar is filled with his stories and traces of his past. Behind every great man lies a great woman. Of course, that's me. I'm King Gesar's concubine, but where is he? Oh, there he is. And although we can't really know the real King Gesar, we can learn about him through the play. King Gesar was a warrior who battled vicious rivals and conquered the kingdom of demons. He's often portrayed sword in hand. However, in these opera plays, the focus is on the colorful mask. Gesar was born with supreme powers. In his childhood, he was unruly. When the former ruler of the empire decided to step down, he held a horse race to determine the new king. King Gesar came out victorious and renamed himself King Ling Gesar. In Ashu, the most famous construction, the memorial of King Gesar was constructed by Bajia Living Buddha. His actions stem from his love and deep worship of King Gesar.
So we're almost at the Living Buddha's house. I've never been here before, and it's taken so long. As you can see, it's almost dark. Well, it is dark right now. Hopefully he's still up. And I heard a rumor that this guy here, the Living Buddha, is actually somehow related to King Gesar.
马上就到了，这就是伯父的家。
好 We're here. Hey. 谢谢你。
Gesar jabo shisha ke thole che na nga zo tang hong ga teni loju tong teni yicha tong teni monsho ge tongje tong hong ga lama tong kepa tongche ga teni Gesar jabo thongsan thong yimba sasha nal yin so ba tong teri soni shinsu sanri ke thole che na teni Gesar jabo thongsan thong de ena yimba de teni tongche ga ta ke teni lensi le re ke de lensi yo ba tela teni teni rong ina teni Gesar jabu ke jiran kong ginje tong teni Gesar jabu loji chadwa sheje tong teni Gesar jabu ke teni nashir nimba tong nazi nimba tesola shunsho sheje tong teni tiki to loji de ngaso jari ki tole kena teni Beijing inandra Shanghai inandra teni Shenzhen inandra Guangdong inandra Chengdu inandra Zhongshan soso le teni chadwa re sheje tong teni sun tel kori khinju shanka tong tel koru 다 대파 경카에 있는다 긴주 시행에 있는다 요코 정신 시행에 있는다 다 대소 통제를 무트에 시행했던 대소 통제가 드니 나나 오모 통제리 나 가스도 드니 내라시 jel라소바 통제가 딘디가 레카도 문님 바지 드니 바
Inside the memorial hall is a huge statue of Gesar riding a horse, and also statues of heroes he led, along with his closest relatives, brothers, mothers, and concubines. In the grassland, there are many traces of his presence, like the rock he tied his horse to, footprints, and a legendary rock he sat on to shoot devil crows. This was the story of this half-god, half-human. It can be said that King Gesar is like a mirror that reflects Tibetan history. It's on the grassland amongst nature and horses that I end my journey through northwest Sichuan.
The grand mountains, vast grasslands, and blue sky have taken me into the spirit of King Gesar and his people. These are people who welcome me into their homes and into their hearts. In one word, this journey has been unforgettable. This is Yin, and see you next time. Yeah, let's go.